Hello, everyone. So, whether you watched on Paramount Plus, on YouTube, or on Nickelodeon, one way or another, by the time this video is out, you will have had the opportunity to see at least the first two episodes of Transformers Earthspark. And because I've been super hyped about it, I want to talk about it. I have to review the first two episodes. So, I'm going to kind of break this up into like two episodes of video from here on out. This is just my overview, my first impressions, and what I thought of what there is easily available for everyone to watch. And everything else will come sporadically. You know, on Paramount Plus, you can see the whole 10 episodes right now. And take it a little bit slower than that, just so people have a chance to watch it before I get into like the heavy spoiler episodes that'll inevitably be toward the end. And a just quick to mention here, this is kind of a capsulated video. I've not watched beyond episode 2. So I don't know how much of this is contradictive. I don't know how much is going to make me look dumb later on. But that's part of the fun. So, yeah, let's talk about Earthspark. And just because I can, if the premiere has you hyped up for Earthspark and you missed your pre-orders over at Hasbro Pulse, please consider using the Entertainment Earth link in the description of my video below. Helps me out a lot if you use that link. So thank you very much for doing so. Let's actually talk about the show. So I'm trying to figure out the smooth way to break this down, because a lot of this is going to be character focused and how all the main characters were treated and what I'm thinking. So we're going to save them to the end part. And I think the first thing we're going to talk is just animation quality in general, by which is it's really, really nice. Like, the overall look of the show is really sleek. I really do like the character designs in motion. And the animation is pretty smooth. Like, it's pretty good CGI, pretty good graphics to it. I really, really liked what I saw. There's a few times where it felt a little off. The father, Alex, in the show, I did feel was like, sometimes he would move about or speak, and I'm like, that feels a little stiff. That feels a little bit more rigid than the rest of the animation here. But maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm like, I don't know, maybe not paying enough attention to everybody else. But it seems like the kids are way more fluid. Now, they're kids. They're going to be more energetic, of course. But, I don't know. There's just something about it that didn't feel as natural as everything else. But like I said, might just be me. For the most part, like, it looks really, really nice. Like, everything done pretty well. One aspect that I thought was interesting, that I actually liked how it was done, is that the explosion effects during fight scenes are actually in traditional animation. It's two-dimensional, which is different because, well, for starters, explosions rendered in 3D on shows like this never look good. So I like the different look to it. Separate, it makes it easy to separate like the blast from everything else that's going on. Allows them to be a little bit more fluid and flowing, especially with like smoke effects. So I like the choice. I like the choice. Like, mixing 2D and 3D doesn't go well generally, but in this case, yeah, it actually kind of works. So I'll give it to them. I was going to touch on the music too. So there's a lot of digital tones to the music. Definitely appropriate for Transformers themselves. It's not terribly remarkable yet, though. I assume that once we get into some of the heavier episodes, that's going to pick up. Right now, we're just kind of in the early episodes, and the music suits its purpose, but it doesn't really, like, there's nothing in it that made me go, oh, I have to mention that. So I'm basically mentioning it because it was unmentionable. Just so we can check the box, right? We just cover everything about the show. It was fine, though. And while we're at it, yeah, everyone's vocal performance was pretty much on point. There wasn't any like spot where like, oh, that was a weird delivery. That doesn't work. I think the only thing that kind of gets me on that is Optimus Prime himself, and that's just because I have to get used to the new voice, because it's not a traditional Prime, and that's not a bad thing. So, let's talk references. So this was great. So there's a whole flashback in episode 1 and 2 where we kind of recount the origin story in this universe for Transformers. And there's so many cool references. Like we get to see the original Cybertron. Obviously, everyone here is in their their classic original designs. We talk about the space bridge is a big thing. That was fun. Um, yeah, and this like this shot was like straight off the back of the packaging from the old toys. We got to see the original space bridge, both the Earth side and the Cybertronian side. We got to see like I got a few shots in here. Grapple showed up. Spike and Sparkplug showed up as a quick little cameo. Lots of little fun things like that. You can tell the people working on this show, they know what they're doing and they have their moments. Here, I'll even show you. Like, this is the one that got me. It's like, I remember this original shot from the old cartoon. It's even off center like it was in the old cartoon. I love it. I absolutely love how they've done this. It was a lot of fun. The whole segment was a lot of fun. I also like the way they got around like having to bring back original voices by making it like a story that's being told, so everyone's kind of just like playing the characters. That's fun. It was a fun scene. And this continues. There are a lot of references going throughout the entire series, through both episodes that I really liked. A lot of comic book covers featuring, like Sea Spray, Ravage, a lot of characters we haven't seen yet, even in like promotional material. But, just to kind of show, like, yeah, there's a full roster. Like, they exist. They're just, in historical material, comic books. My favorite one was Alex, who is like the Transformers super fan of the show, is he referenced when Elita 1 is on the attack, he references Ariel, which I thought was a really deep cut. Like really, really cool. All right, so what's next? Humor. Yes, this is a text message between Optimus, Megatron, and Dot, the mother on the show. And you can see Megatron doesn't like spelling all his words. And Megatron's one of those where he will use the @ symbol instead of typing @ to save him one letter. And then Optimus is the one who's overusing emojis all the time. I love that little bit of personality. But yeah, when they first announced the show, they described how the show was going to go. I was worried because they said how much humor was going on in the show, and like, oh, that like immediately makes me withdraw, because like humor in classic cartoon styles and designs and franchises tends to go to like Teen Titans Go, which there's nothing inherently wrong with Teen Titans Go for the age group it was. We just don't like it because it isn't the original Teen Titans. I could say the same thing about Thundercats Roar, but that was also just really bad in general, beyond just being a really bad Thundercats. So, yeah, we have. I was worried it was going to go in that direction because we have bad examples. No. So the humor is actually just kind of like spotted in here and there. And it's never like it never like breaks the tension. It never feels like it's overdone. It's just that perfect amount to keep a little bit of levity in the show and make some kids happy while like all this like adventure and action adventure stuff is going on. So good, proper balance. Like to see it. And this is something. Okay, so the scene where Twitch and Thrash are created, this already has me like buzzing. I'm buzzed over this because what I wanted out of a new show was to see something new. And when they told me that like the idea behind Twitch and Thrash are they're the firstborn Transformers on Earth, the first Terran-born Transformers. Okay, cool approach, but how you handling it, that's the important part. What makes them so different? Well, for starters, we have a completely different creation than we've ever seen before. So they touch this crystal in the middle of this pool of goo, and that's how Twitch and Thrash are created. Like, and they just kind of like rise up from that. And it's interesting. Like, if I apply past Transformer stuff to it, it'd be like mixing. It would be like if this pool was Sentio Metallico, like the living metal that creates Transformers in IDW, combined with a shard of Vector Sigma that can still create sparks for the two new Transformers. if I'm applying existing logic. But then we have things like the cyber sleeves that bond them to the kids. The fact that, that's not how a Vector Prime is a computer. It's not like a fragment of a computer can run Doom. So that's probably not it either. Also, how does a pool of living metal make it to Earth in the first place? There's a lot different here, and I can apply existing fiction to it, but it doesn't explain everything. So now I'm even more fascinated. What is this? This is new. This is new, and new is what I wanted. Perfect. All right, I'm down for this. I want more of this. All right, so that has me excited. All right, let's talk kids here. All right, so first off, Mo's already up there, very high on my list of human partner characters, kids in Transformers. She's excited, she's adventurous, she's not in the annoying scale that Daniel got to. And for some people, Miko, I like Miko a lot better than most people do from Transformers Prime. She's somewhere in that sorry vibe of she is bold, but she is still just like a young girl, nothing really shocking there. So she's a lot of fun. Really like her so far. Robbie in the first half of the premiere is kind of hard to enjoy. So the story for the humans is they just moved from Philadelphia to this tiny little town, the tiny little town of Witwicky, by the way. So he's not handling the move well. He misses his friends. He's in his backwater town that barely has any internet signal. So he's got nothing to do. So he just hates everything. And he's in that situation that a lot of kids are, where they don't understand why. He doesn't understand why they had to move. He does not trying to get used to it. He just wants to run away and go back home. And he comes across, for me, I feel like he comes across way too angry about it. He spends a good portion of the first 10 minutes of this episode screaming. He's hard to like at first. You can relate to him if you've ever been through that. If you can remember going through a move as a kid that you weren't happy about. Myself, I moved a lot as a kid, so I kind of had to get used to not settling down in one spot, so at his age, if he always lived in Philadelphia and then had to move to Witwicky, okay, I can understand being angry and upset and confused. He's just borderline hostile about it. So it takes a while for him to kind of mellow out, and bonding to our Terrans. That's another thing that kind of helped that process. So he gets better. Once he bonds with Twitch, he gets better. I should note, the sleeves is actually, storyline wise, it actually implies that the sleeves are bonding all four of them together. They can actually sense not only the one that they first bonded to, but because it's it feels like Mo and Thrash connect, and then Robbie and Twitch connect. But in a situation, both kids can sense both Autobots. We get a hint that Twitch can sense both Thrash and Robbie. Thrash and Mo. Sorry. So it's going to be interesting to see how the four work together with that bond going, and what you can do storyline wise with it, because there's a lot you can do. So yeah. Likable characters. Robbie takes a while, but he gets there. The parents, okay, so Alex so far has one mode, and that is fanboy. He's the Transformer historian. He is super geek about Transformers. We catch him reading comic books for Transformers multiple times in this episode. He's the one telling the backstory. He goes nuts when he finds Bumblebee, or when he first gets to see Bumblebee. And he's he's me if he was more financially stable, essentially. So he'll be fun to see interact with Transformers, especially with Bumblebee, because that is his, like, beyond his favorite. Like, that is, like, obsessive favorite. So he's going to be comic relief more than anything. Dot is there to be, like, the stern, no-nonsense parent. But that is not to the bad extent. She does obviously come across as, like, just a concerned mom. But there's also elements to that that are in favor of the kids as well. So ultimately, she's just trying to protect them. Okay, they just got bonded to these two mysterious alien robots. Okay, your first concern would be like, okay, get them away from the giant alien robots and make sure they're cool and they're not like undercover Decepticon or anything. But later on, when it's clear that there is a bond, there's a connection between these that we're not going to be able to do anything about, that sternness turns on Optimus Prime. And that's the more interesting thing about her, is the fact that she really doesn't like Optimus Prime. She really dislikes Optimus Prime. Like, tolerates his presence, Optimus Prime. And that is so bizarre. It's so bizarre, because according to the backstory, she fought alongside the Autobots when the war came to Earth. You would think that she would be more, connected to Optimus than anything. But no, she's besties with Megatron. I want to know how this happened. And of course, like, I'm saying this, it's probably explained in one of the 8 episodes I haven't watched yet that's currently available on Paramount Plus for the low price of $4.99 a month. No, I'm not being paid. I'm just goofing. Don't worry. I haven't made that level of fame yet. I don't have that sponsorship. She's going to be the voice of reason character to counteract his goofiness. Okay, so it's a pair of characters here that balance. That's fine. That's pretty much what I expect. We have the villain Mandroid. So, for starters, when I hear his performance, there's something in my brain that says, that can't be the guy from Drew Carey. But it is. No, he's doing a really good villain vocal performance. He's very brooding, very creepy. Very, very much like the low-key style of Mad Scientist. And I'm genuinely wondering what he is about, because, okay, if he's xenophobic, that's fine. Okay, so if he hates all Autobots and Decepticons, period, even, just because they're aliens, all right. We'll play with that allegory. It's not the first time we've done that in Transformers. Hopefully it's handled better than the live-action movies. But he's grafting parts of Transformers to himself. He is actively using Transformers as his minions. So there's something that he hates them, but he is not above benefiting from them. Hypocritical, as many villains are. And I really do wonder where they are going with this, like, this thing where he just, like, seemingly for no reason decided he's going to cut off one of Hardtop's arms and graft it to himself. I'm almost wondering if that is going to be a trend, and at some point he's just going to be more Frankenstein than anything. We will see. So between his army of spider bots and his knowledge of Transformers, like, he is, like, somehow able to, like, temporarily reprogram them to be subservient to him, which is already, that ups the threat. He himself is not threatening yet. It is just how many of his spider minions he has, which is easy pickings for Megatron, and then being able to control other Transformers, which might be a way of introducing a lot of characters that could show up. It introduced us to a bunch here: Insecticons, Skullcruncher. I'm eager to see what they do with him, because there's a lot of different directions he could go, especially if he falls further into the psychosis of, like, rebuilding himself to be, like, a match for a Transformer. We will see. So let's actually get into robots now. I was actually surprised. The Decepticons in both episodes, there's a bunch of them, and yet they have barely any presence, because they really are just there for the Autobots to have someone to fight. We get a little bit of character for Swindle and Hardtop, a very little bit for Hardtop. Hardtop definitely comes across as the guy who's here to be beaten up by Elita 1. And we'll get to that in a minute. Nolan North doing the voice casting, by the way, works well for both. I can't, it's hard to discern that it's the same guy. Always good. And he's doing a very decent job trying to get Swindle's voice across. I really hope we see more of Swindle. I'm sure we will. But yeah, Hardtop is just kind of like a write-off. Like, yeah, you're just supposed to get beaten up. Moving on. They didn't mention they were brothers, though, so that was a bit of a twist. But like I said, like, Decepticons in this one just seemed like there's a bunch of them, but they didn't have any presence, you know? So, like, Swindle and Hardtop are there basically to fall into Elita 1's trap, and then Skullcruncher and the Insecticons exist later on just so Elita 1 has someone to fight. So Bumblebee has someone to fight. You know, they're just not really, like, used, really. They're just kind of bodies to shoot at. And I get that that gets across Mandroid's threat, but also, man, like, I'm really looking forward to seeing, like, real Decepticons coming in. We've seen Soundwave in the previews, so I really want to see what they do with him and where they go with it. So, yeah, so I wanted a little bit more Decepticon, or at least wanted the Decepticons to be in control of themselves, but it is what it is. Let's talk mains. Main robots. So Twitch is immediately my favorite in this show. Like, she is, yeah, she has that young spunky attitude. Just a little bit of it's like a little bit of a joke to her. She's fun. She's a lot of fun. And I feel like the favorite scene I have for Twitch is like when she first adopts her mode, the drone she turns into. When she first takes her vehicle mode, it is kind of in this comical slapstick way, and she has some of my favorite comical moments, by the way. And what I like is that she can still emote really well when she's a drone, just because she is able to, like, move her, like, propellers around. So she actually, it's fun. It's fun to watch her buzz around, still know that, like, that's Twitch. You know, still feel like it's a character. I feel like she is going to become my favorite as I watch the rest of the season. I'm not sure as much about Thrash just yet. I feel like I didn't get a whole lot of his personality. Maybe a little bit more cockiness, just a little bit. But I don't know. I don't know. Like, for whatever reason, like, Twitch and Thrash, I just didn't get as much of a feel for that I was expecting to. But I guess because, yeah, they're young. They haven't done or known a whole lot. And I'm sure as they become more exposed to things on Earth, as well as how Transformers generally operate, especially because they're going to be taught by Autobots, I'm sure that's going to come in time. Right now, they very much come across as, like, the foreigner kind of trope, where, just experiencing all these new things and finding out basically how to exist. So it kind of makes sense that we didn't get a whole lot from them. But they're fun. I like them. As additions to the Transformer universe, I like them so far. For established characters, Optimus Prime definitely takes more of a G1 approach, which is good. Like, his fight scenes are good. Vocal performance, like I said, I got to get used to. But what I really did like about Optimus in this is that when he he's the first one to approach the trap that got Swindle and Hardtop. And the first thing he does is try to convince them to lay down their arms and offers them a peaceful life. That's an Optimus thing. It's an Optimus thing to try and get surrender before just going in guns a-blazing. Hello, Michael. It was a nice touch. It was a nice touch to see an Optimus with that dimension to him again, rather than just like the general who just charges into the battle. I liked it. I liked it a lot. And you know what? You know what they got right that so many get wrong? When he talks with his mouth plate covering, it moves. His mouth plate moves. It's such a small detail. I just beg for it every time. And they actually did it. Like, that made me happy. So it's a pretty solid Optimus Prime so far. Definitely want to see him in more situations to know just like how much variance there is to him. I feel like he's more natural in the role than, say, Cyberverse Prime, who felt a little bit stiff. So that's good. That's good. Elita 1, I feel like, is going to be a star of this show. She is far more gung-ho than Optimus Prime is. Like I said, it's her trap to started off the episode to get Hardtop and Swindle, and she's the one doing the bulk of the fighting. There's some awesome fight choreography in the first fight of this show, and it's her just like kicking the tailpipe of 2 Decepticons by herself and doing a great job of it. Also, speaking of like really cool polishes to the animation, once this like crazy fight gets done, and she's doing like Street Fighter air juggle stuff in this fight, but once she finally comes to a standstill, you'll find that her legs, the wheels on them, are still rocking back and forth. They still have a little momentum to give. Small detail. Love detail like that, though. Yeah, she makes a really good co-leader with Optimus Prime, where she is very much action first. So, fun. Really like Elita 1. I feel like she's going to come off very strong in this show. Bumblebee was weird. So the flashback made it a point to show that Bumblebee stayed behind on Cybertron, but then somehow showed up magically on Earth again and then vanished. I know. So I'm not sure if they even knew I'm not sure if they screwed up their own continuity with Bumblebee, or if we got a backstory that was incorrect somehow. But they made a big deal in episode 1 of Bumblebee like vanishing and no one knew where he was. And then in episode 2, he just randomly shows up because apparently Optimus Prime called him in from hiding. Why was Bumblebee hiding? I don't know. Probably watch the next 8 episodes to find out. But, okay, so at the very least, they didn't rely on Bumblebee for the first 2 episodes. They kind of threw him in as a surprise. Unless you watched any trailer, because they all feature Bumblebee. It's not much of a surprise. So I'm curious about how they're handling him. He's not mute. He's kind of in the Cyberverse vibe of, he's got a voice. He's got G1 elements to him, but he's got movie elements too. So he's just kind of like a sleeked down version of what we now have as like the Evergreen Bumblebee. So we'll see where he is character-wise. I'm hoping, he's a capable combatant, so he's probably not going to be all G1, but I hope he's a little more fun-loving, a little less cocky than he is in the movies. Not so hard up on like, oh, well, you're the next leader, so you gotta be super serious. Like, I'm hoping this is kind of like a more mellow Bumblebee. That's what I'm hoping for here. And then there's Megatron. Oh boy. So, when you talk good guy Megatron, yes, I'm kind of expecting something along the IDW style, where you can definitely tell Megatron is in there. He's still that super stern guy, but, at least he acknowledges his mistakes and he wants to do right by them. This is not that. This is not that Megatron. This Megatron is cracking jokes. He is laughing. He is saying, he's telling Dot to give Optimus a chance because Optimus means well. I'm like, really? I expected heroic Megatron. That doesn't mean nice guy Megatron. Those are not mutually those are not like 2 and 2. Like, you can have those are mutually exclusive. Like, you can have one or the other. I didn't expect. It caught me off guard. I expected a good guy Megatron. I didn't expect a nice guy Megatron. And it's one of those situations where, like, the way he's portrayed right now, he doesn't feel like he's putting on a front. It doesn't feel like he is, like, faking this. But it feels off all the same. Because it just doesn't feel like any Megatron I've seen before. Like I said, I want different. This is definitely different. So who knows? I don't. And that's the good part. I don't know. I don't know if he's playing the long game. I don't know if this is real, if this is genuine. I don't know if something's going to drive him apart from the Autobots. I don't know. And I love that. You know? Like, immediately, just by this, even if this is a temporary thing, for now, I don't know where they're going with it. And that makes this a good story immediately. Because Megatron just like turning his cannon on Prime at the end of this episode and just shooting him back of the head. That's what I would expect. That would be typical Megatron. Here, I have no idea what this Megatron's going to do. And that's interesting to me. So, yeah, sometimes it's worth, like, portraying someone out of character. Because all I want is reasonable explanation, which I'm willing to wait for, and the payoff, which, of course, I will have to wait for. I like where they're going. It's interesting. Between the origin on Earth, the way they're portraying Megatron, Ghost, well, I didn't even touch on. Like, Ghost just feels like there's something wrong. I don't even know what, but it just does. I'm not comfortable with this. And yeah, and like how Mandroid's going to be a continued threat, the bond between the two Terrans and the kids. There's a lot that intrigues me here, and that is something I haven't had in a Transformer cartoon in a while. You know, and you know what? No Allspark, no real war, no military treating the Autobots like villains. This is fresh, and it's fresh I needed. So I'm really looking forward to diving into the other 8 episodes. Like I said, I'll cover them on this channel bit by bit. I'm not going to do like a whole rush of them. So stay tuned for that. Hopefully those reviews won't be, a 30 minutes to go. I had a lot to cover. We had a lot to talk about. But if you made it this far, thank you very much. Remember? Oh, why did my voice... I'm sorry. Projecting my voice for half an hour straight has made everything go wonky. I apologize. Voice crack like I just hit puberty. Sorry about that. But if you made it this far, thank you very much. Genuinely appreciate it. I will be back. We'll talk about the next 2 episodes at some point in the future. I do want to cover this series a little bit more closely than I have cartoons in the past because, like I said, this feels good. This is like, I'm getting vibes from this show that I haven't gotten since animated. That should tell you something. That is always a good thing. So, thank you for making it this far. Thanks for listening. Remember, you can see the first 2 episodes for free on YouTube. That's, and legally, I should say, you can legally watch them free on YouTube right now. And let me know in the comments below what you thought of the first 2 episodes. Remember, not everyone has Paramount Plus, so do be mindful of spoilers. Please don't give anything away. And hopefully, I will see you next time. Guys, I am facing the most powerful enemy any YouTuber can face, the algorithm, and I need your help to defeat him. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and leave a comment. Every time you do, we attack that algorithm and we drive it back until it can no longer defeat this channel. Thank you very much.